Bill Maher is not a big star. He's a very little man. He's a very short
left you, not you left.
Yeah, well, I
think
feel
fair.
like there's liberal and woke are two completely different things. It was the theme of my last stand-up special that I just did a few months ago. And it's basically, I mean, it wasn't the whole special, of course, but it was a large part of it devoted to that, to proving that case that, you know, what liberals believe, woke is something completely different. It's very often the opposite of it. You know, liberalism is, let's live in a colorblind society. That's the goal. Woke's goal is, we see race everywhere.
Race obsession.
Yes. Okay. So that's not liberal. You change. Liberal is, there are two-state solution. Woke is river to the sea. Okay. Those are, so just don't take my word and say you're that. You took this and took it to, you got off the F train, you fell asleep, and you got off the 20s.
Charlie Kirk just sat down with Bill Maher for the first time, and the conversation took everyone by surprise. Kirk didn't just push back, he completely unraveled some of Maher's go-to arguments. But the real shock, Maher ended up revealing something major about the woke side of the Democratic Party, something almost no one has dared to say publicly. One standout moment came when Maher asked about Christianity. Kirk's response was clear, bold, and totally unexpected. It was one of those rare exchanges where both sides actually found some common ground, and it left a lasting impact.
Why do we say that in the present tense?
Because it is a constant truth in our life.
He is risen. I always noticed that was interesting to me.
That's a really important question, actually.
It is. Tell me.
Well, because the fact that he is risen transcends time. It's not just in the present sense. It's that of all time, that promise is accessible to all of us. And so it's a proclamation to all people. Because if you said, hey, he was risen, it's like, it's just merely a historical event. It almost underplays the metaphysics of it.
I'm just always fascinated the way really, really fine intellectual minds employ themselves for the purpose of arguing things that are so inarguable. It does, because it's almost like a challenge. Like, I'm so smart that I can make this thing, which is so stupid, seem like a real.
No, it's fine.
No, but you get where I'm coming from. Like, I'm going to take something that is so anti-intellectual, even though I can argue like an intellectual.
However, but you have to acknowledge, even the greatest minds of history have been mesmerized by the scriptures. Isaac Newton, Thomas Aquinas.
Well,
Isaac Newton wrote more about biblical prophecy than even physics. And so there's something about the scriptures that are intellectual, that does push your limits. And that's what I think is so beautiful about our faith, is it can be accessible to everyone, but also infinitely nourishing in exploration.
This was incredible. Bill Maher looked truly stunned by Charlie's response. You could see it on his face. It was clear, confident, and totally caught him off guard. If you agree with Charlie's point of view, drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear what you think, but now, pay close attention to what Bill Maher says next. He starts to distance himself from the woke crowd in a way we've never seen before. This is a game changer.
Woke guys.
Well, they kill me. They want to kill me just as bad.
Probably.
Oh, they really do.
No, you've been very outspoken on the woke stuff. Big time.
Oh, yes. I mean, and they, just the way within a religion, they hate their own apostates more. I would say they hate me more, because I'm supposed to like get on the short bus to Crazy Town with them, and I won't. And yet I'm still a liberal, and still, like, you know, I mean, we probably could argue all day about Donald Trump and what he's doing, which I'm not down with. But, you know, it's always the people who are closest who think, oh, gosh, you shouldn't have, you're a traitor somehow.
I was going to ask, is it because they thought you were one of them, and that...
I am one of them. They're not one of me. I'm okay. It's the liberals who have...
So they've left you, not you left.
Yeah, well, I feel like there's liberal and woke are two completely different things. It was the theme of my last stand-up special that I just did a few months ago. And it's basically, I mean, it wasn't the whole special, of course, but it was a large part of it devoted to that, to proving that case that, you know, what liberals believe, woke is something completely different. It's very often the opposite of it. You know, liberalism is, let's live in a colorblind society. That's the goal. Woke's goal is, we see race everywhere.
Race obsession.
Yes. Okay. So that's not liberal. You changed. Liberal is there a two-state solution. Woke is river to the sea. Okay, so just don't take my word and say you're that. You took this and took it to. You got off the F train. You fell asleep, and you got off the 20 stops too far. And don't blame.
Bill Maher may still consider himself a liberal, but even he admits that some of what's coming from his side has gone too far, sometimes feeling almost indistinguishable from the woke mob. And that's exactly what Charlie Kirk called out during their interview. He didn't hold back. He looked Bill straight in the eye and called him out on his views about the woke left. What Charlie said really hit home. It was one of those moments where even Bill had to pause and reconsider his stance. It was powerful, no doubt about it.
Something, and this is 100% true. You had more moral courage than pastors that I know that went along with the woke crazy train, and you deserve credit for that because it was of high cost.
Until we get rid of that shit, they're never going to win another election.
I agree. They're not going to take political advice from me.
No, but they might from me.
They could.
And
they should.
Not the 10%, but that's 10%.
But they're very loud.
They're very loud, but that's it. And I, as FDR once said, I welcome their hatred because they're just, first of all, they have no integrity. They don't ever present the full argument. They just cherry pick. I mean, everybody does it to everybody. So I'm not saying I'm unique here, but that is part of the problem of our discourse is that everybody just wants to forward their narrative. No one is really interested in the full truth. Just the truth. Just give me the truth. And that's the crowd I'm going for.
That touch of common sense is exactly what still sets Bill Maher apart from the far left. And it's probably why so many people still tune into him. He hasn't fully bought into the woke madness, and that gives him a unique perspective. What made the interview even more powerful was when Charlie Kirk took Bill head-on about Obama and Trump. The way he laid it all out forced Bill to pause and really think. It hit at the core of the political divide that's reshaping the landscape right now. That moment spoke volumes.
Acknowledges male-female distinctions. What a concept, right?
Oh, of course.
I mean,
of all the low-lying fruit that the Democrats just hand the Republicans to win elections, that's the one.
It's so funny. I joked around with my team the other day. I said, are they really going to just let us win every national election on this no men and female sports thing?
Right.
They can't surrender on this one issue.
It's so ridiculous.
It's a 90-10 issue.
Yeah.
There's 890 medals and trophies of men winning these competitions.
You lost Gavin Newsom on this. Okay? Take that as a hint, right? I mean, I think you were
I was the one that asked the question.
Right.
It's fascinating to hear Bill Maher talk about Trump in a completely new way after just one dinner. It really says a lot. In today's political climate, honesty like that is rare, especially from someone who's been so critical in the past. But that's the power of real conversations. They cut through the noise and make space for deeper understanding, even if it's unexpected.
But the idea that I could talk to them as freely as I felt this conversation was going is emblematic to me of why the Democrats lose the elections. Because they just don't feel that this is like a real person. And I know it's so weird to say that about Donald Trump, who I've said a jillion times is, a whiny little bitch. I mean, I could go through my greatest hits of insults, but this was about getting past that and maybe seeing that if we met in person, we don't hate each other as much, and we don't. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to pretend that's a bad thing.